Trip. Okay. So incentive trips, I'm not familiar with everybody in the group. So to determine if any of you have been on incentive trips or not, has anybody been on the incentive trips before? And this can
Not
be any reunion or wherever. Sorry, say that again.
not me.
Not Melissa. All right.
Not yet.
Not yet. That's right. I love that answer. Love it.
I've been on two or three.
Two or three. Awesome. Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, the goal here is to get you on more, right? And to get on this one. And no matter what level, I'm going to talk through all the levels. And you have to start at the first level, right? So I always tell people, like, rather than being so overwhelmed looking straight at the big number, like we want to look at the number that what we're really wanting and when we're making our goal and our plan for sure. But we just know the first level you got to start with is the 15,000, the first to get reunion registration. So that's our first goal, right? Let's earn that first, then we can move forward from there. So we have been on, I think we're on 14 trips at this point. We have earned every, I say summer trip. It's not summer trip, like the fall incentive that goes in the summer since 2014. And we're super excited about this. Greece is like definitely a bucket list item that we've wanted to do for years. James was supposed to join me tonight, and he would have definitely been going on and on about that. But I forgot he had planned a night out with his friend. And so he's not with me tonight, but that's okay. I am going to share my screen just in case you're not looking at your stuff, but I do hope that you are also looking either on your computer or you've printed off. But this page right here, and hopefully you can see my screen. Can you guys see my screen, my workstation here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you don't know, under more incentives, that's where you find this screen. And this is super helpful page. It's going to give you everything you need to know about this. And so I'm just going to go through this part real quick, and then I'm going to explain to you what I do for every incentive in order to earn it. So the first page here is overview. There's an awesome video there. We're not going to play it now because I tend to run out of time because I have the free Zoom version. So I don't want to waste time with that, but you should definitely watch it because if you haven't already, it's very motivating. And then you have the different levels here. So level the one here is earn registration for one to family reunion. This is just going to be registration, but we all know that is totally a good value. This includes 15,000 points, including 500 sponsoring points. And it's very important. That's a new ad this year. They didn't used to have that for the when they would do levels like this for just reunion registration. So I'll go over what that means here in a minute. And then it's really cool how they broke it up because you can actually earn this trip with a lot less points and just pay for your own flight. If you're in the DFW area, I've already like looked at flights. They're about $1,500. So honestly, if you're just like, look, aim for this and then just book your own flight, just start saving up for your flights. So I think this is really a good doable number if you put in the work. Not going to lie to you, it's going to be work. If you want to earn these trips, it's work, but it's very doable if you put in the work. So, and in fact, some of my crazy night, the reason I'm a bit of a mess is because my goal is to book as many parties as possible. And so I sent out a thing, which I'll post on our team page or our group page, showing I sent a picture of our four little ones, each with a bag, and put a number on each of them. And then I said, hey, I don't even remember what I said, but I can put my words in there. And I sent it in Project Broadcast. And I think I sent it out to like 1,500 people, really hoping it would like do a lot. And then it did. And my phone has been exploding now for the last 3 hours. So good news is I've got a lot of parties booked. So just some tips for you. The parties are huge and a really good thing to use for this to earn the trips. Then level 3 is where you earn still for one, but this time you get your flights included in that. So you can see that the sponsoring points do not change here, but it is 15,000 more points, but that covers your flights. Then level 4 is the level where you get to include a guest plus one over the age of, I think they changed it, maybe 16. It used to be 18, but I think now you can do 16 and up. And that includes 6,000 sponsoring points. And then for 2, with both of your flights included, is 65,000 with 6,000 sponsoring points. So what does that mean? How do you earn all these points? Those are really big numbers when you're looking at it like here. And they have this great little chart for you to show you tracking and bidding. Don't look at my points yet because they're not great, but that's okay because I got time and I'm making a plan and I'm working my plan. And so sometimes it takes a while for the parties to get going. I already have 3 teacher fundraisers I'm doing and a Facebook party that have already been going on all week. So those are collecting things right now. So how to earn those points. So real quick, every single PRV point is a point. So the good news is about this, everybody wants to complain. You can't, and I don't say that lightly, I understand. We can't work for our downline. We can't work for our team. We can't make them work, right? We can only work for ourselves. And PRV is what you can work for yourself. So, in this trip, you only need, the highest you need is 6,000 sponsoring points. That means the majority of the points can come from your sales. That means booking all the parties, booking all the events. We love doing events. We do a lot of events, but I'm really trying to up my game this time with parties. And all of them right now are Facebook parties, but in person are really good too. So then if you attend World Tour, hopefully you all go to World Tour, you're going to get 500 points there. PRV consistency, if you're trying to earn a trip, you are going to have at least 1,000 PRV points every single month. So then you should end up with this PRV consistency there that gets you 1,500 points. If you have 1,000 or more PRV 5 out of 6 months. These do not have to be consecutive. So if you accidentally mess up one month and you're like, oh, shoot, no worries. Just make sure you get the rest. Okay. Then you have sensational start. Now, most of you, I'm assuming, have been in longer than 70 days at this point. But if somebody's watching later on the recording, if you're within your first 70 days, these are points you can earn for hitting these different sensational start levels. So if you actually get a new recruit, look at that, it's 5,000 points for level 3. That's amazing. So if you get a new recruit and they're like gung-ho excited, push them. They want to earn this trip, right? Push them to earn level 3 of that because look at all those points. And then that's, if they're earning level 3 of sensational start level, that's really also going to help them with promotion. It's going to be highly unlikely they're not going to promote in there if they are recruiting also and not just PRV for that. But then you have personal promotions or activity bonuses here. So if you are able to still promote, you have promotions there. The only level, obviously, that can't promote Superstar Director. But the rest of us all have potential to promote there. That shows you all your promotion points. Activity bonus. Now, this is really key. This is, I didn't mean to have that. Activity bonus is really key to helping get points just for hitting your title. So there's a difference between rank and title, and you need to keep that in mind. So whatever the highest level title you've ever had, that's your title. But you are going to get paid at rank each month, right? We all start back down at certified, and we all have to work our way up different titles. And whatever rank we hit that month is what points you're going to get here. And that's really nice because if you don't hit your title that month, you can still get like the points from whatever level you do hit. So if you're a director and you hit superstar, or if you're a superstar and you hit star, now these points, as you can see, only happen at lead and above. So you want to be hitting at least lead points. This is really key. So I highly, highly, highly recommend if you are of any title above certified, hit your title. And also if you're not any title above certified, promote, because there's a lot of points wrapped up right there in promotion. Okay, now the rest of this is the sponsoring points. And this is always the thing. Well, that's not true. Every once in a while, you have the few gung-ho people that are really like rock star recruiters, and they get the sponsoring points no problem. I think I had 1 or 2 years where that was me, but most years sponsoring points is the, okay, we got to, really work at this. And so all of these, which there's 4 of them here with stars, you see the star here, that means these count as those other sponsoring points. So, for example, if you sponsor someone who earns one of the levels, so remember that person we were talking about earlier, they decide to join your team, and then you say, hey, let's do this incentive trip, and they're like, absolutely, and you're like, well, you're going to want level 3, and they're like, yeah, I am. You're going to get 2,000 points if they get level 3. because you're going to be working hard to help them do that and train them and help them, point them to trainings and workstation and YouTube and set up their launch party and all these things, and really encourage them to grow their team from off, kicking off right off the bat is what I'm trying to say there. Now, if you did recruit somebody prior to August 1st and they have not certified, and this can include reinstate. So if you have a reinstatement and you look and see, oh, they only had 999 or less PRV the last time they were in Scentsy, if they promote to certified, you will still get 250 points for them. So that's nice. That counts in there. And then at the bottom here, frontline promotion. So this is where a lot of people get a lot of their sponsoring points, getting new recruits and then getting them to certified consultant. So for the first person you get to certified, you get 1,000. For the second person you'll get 1,500 for the second person. So first person's still 1,000, second person's 1,500, and then the third person is 3,000 points. 4,000, 3,000 for each person after that, third, fourth, fifth, whatever. So realistically, if you were only getting them certified, they weren't hitting any of the sensational start levels, they weren't promoting to lead or anything, to get the highest 2 levels, you would need 4 certified consultants, because you have 1,000, 1,500, that's at 2,500, with 3,000, 5,500, and then another 3,000, 8,500. Sorry, I'm going so fast, and I'm a numbers person, so I throw out numbers, so I apologize if I'm too much. But so 4, like, that's amazing, y'all. And really, if you got one of them to hit level 1 sensational start level, you'd actually only need 3. And if you've ever earned an incentive or you've ever tried, that's actually a pretty low number of people you have to recruit in order to earn this. And they brought the sponsoring points down. So in last year, I think it was like, I had it down, but I don't remember now, 8,000 or 9,000 that we needed for the highest level. So they did bring it down. And then this right here is like gold, and it's all wrapped up into the statistics of, well, sensational start really is in that. There's a ton of statistics that show people who end up as directors or higher, many of them earn at least one of the 3 sensational start levels. So that's why we really want to encourage our new recruits to hit these levels, because then that starts them off strong in their business. Same with promoting to lead here. And look, there are 2,500 points. So really, if you had one new consultant, okay, so that's 1,000 points. Let's say they hit level 2, that's another 1,000. Well, if you get them to level 3, that'd be 3,000. You could almost do it with one. It'd be just a little short. But if you had them promote to lead one person, you're almost to, you'd have all your points you would need for the lower 3 levels, right? So that's amazing. Now I'm going to just tell you how I do it, but you can look down here. They give lots of suggestions here. These are just suggestions. This is not telling you what you have to do, but if you're trying to earn the trip, pretend like it is telling you what you have to do, because it really helps you a lot here. So you can see, and again, if you are willing to put in the hard work for the higher PRV, then you don't have to recruit as much. But obviously helping grow your team is going to help your business in the long run. So that's always good. And this shows you all the different point levels. So see, this says, if you're a certified consultant right now, here's the suggestion. If you're a lead consultant right now, here's your suggestion. Star consultant, superstar, director, star, director, and superstar director. These again are suggestions. So, okay, let me stop sharing and let me just show you what I do. So what I do is I have that point system either printed or I put it like, on my computer screen. That's what I did, is I pulled it up on the computer screen. And then I said, what do I know I'm going to get? No matter what, I know I'm going to get. And it didn't even matter what kind of paper, just whatever it is, you're going to keep this paper. Like I ripped this out of my planner because it was paper I wasn't using. And it's like, it is literally going to sit everywhere, and I'm going to look at it all the time and see where I'm at on it. And so, for example, if your goal is the top 65,000 points, break that into smaller chunks, because 65,000 is huge. So if you break that up 6 months, that's actually 10,833 points, which still sounds like a lot, but again, just break it down. So let me back up a little bit and just tell you how I start. So I started with my for sure points. I know for sure I'm going to world tour. Hopefully you all are. So there's 500 points. So I wrote that 500 points. I know for sure that I am going to hit my PRV consistency. That's the plan, right? $1,000 or 1,000 PRV, 5 out of 6 months. So I wrote that down. That's 1,500 points. Okay. So I'm at the director level. I intend to hit title for 6 months. So that's 6,000 points. It's okay. Whatever's title you're at, just look at that title, calculate those points, and then look and see. And you'll realize, like, for me, that puts me at 8,000 points with that alone. So I'm already halfway to level 1 just with those. Now, obviously, I'm not going to see all those numbers until the full 6 months, right? Runs out, because some of those don't hit but monthly, and the PRV consistency won't hit until at least December. If you hit it in December, then they'll put the points in December. If you missed a month, you'll have to wait till January. Then what I did is I like to look back at last year. My goal is always to do better than the year before. So I always want to look at the numbers, but a good way to determine what is my realistic PRV goal for this year is I'm going to look and see, what did I do PRV last year for those 6 months, August through January. And if you didn't have a lot of PRV, then that's okay. You can still look and say, okay, I clearly have room to grow. First off, you need at least 1,000 PRV. So if you're not hitting that, I would highly recommend your goal really be 2,000 to 2,500 at a minimum, because that's going to get you 12,000 plus points alone. So between that and the other stuff, you would hit, reunion for free, right there. And other than you would need one person, because you have to have 500 sponsoring points. But that's a little bit easier to do. So anyways, then I add up all those points and see what number does that give me, and then what's the amount that leaves me with. And then of course you have sponsoring. So then that's when you really factor in the sponsoring and really break it down. So for me personally, I try to break it down into the smallest possible chunk. So Debbie Pitts Palmer, if you're familiar with her, she's a superstar director. She recommends, and I'm always hearing her say this, is if you want to earn in the top for trips, earn annual mentor during the incentive time, which is just insane, right? Like, because most of us don't earn annual mentor in the entire 12 months we have. So to earn it in 6 months, of course, you would be on the trip, right? But I'm like, go big or go home. Let's give it a try. She's told me this for years. I've never done it. I always say it's my goal, but I made it my goal again. Some other things I have found in my research is time and time again, I see that people who are leaders in Scentsy, most of them, or SSDs talking about directors and leaders they have below them, say that those people come from parties. So I do a lot of events, and I love my events, and I'm not opposed to the events. I'm big on events. If you know me at all, you know I'm huge on the events. But when I look at my team and who's growing and who's done better, typically most of them started by being a host and flipping from that. So I say all of that to really encourage you that if you're like me, maybe you've put parties on the back burner for years now and you've barely done a party in forever, because that's just the truth. I have not done parties in forever. Maybe here or there when someone asks, someone has asked me, and then I'm like, okay, fine. Otherwise I don't do them. But I'm trying to change my business and grow my business. And so I really believe the best way to grow it is going to be to have hosts. And that can look a million different ways. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a home party. It doesn't necessarily need to be whatever. So Facebook party, let me see if I can turn this around without losing everything. And my desk is a bit of a mess. So you're just going to have to. But I literally set up like a little display here. And then I do like lives when I do Facebook parties. The few times I've done them recently. And then most recently, I just did 3 teacher fundraisers, but I set them up like a party. So they had a link at first, and I was just like, here, share the link. And they weren't really getting anything. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to pretend they're a party also. You know what I mean? So treat them like a party, make a whole group page for them, set up all the posts to happen. And I just totally, part of my brand is me and my family. I want my customers to know who we are. We're a homeschool family. We're a former foster, now adoptive family. I want them to see that and know that, so they love us and they want to do business with us. And so I incorporated them. So we actually, rather than going live this time, I have made little videos. Some of you got the benefit of seeing some of the joy of one of those videos because that was James opening the Lord of the Rings. If you haven't seen it, you have to go watch it. It's absolutely amazing. But so we just made little videos, and like I think I literally just looked at the website and took the categories, all the different, okay, so warmers and wax, diffusers and oils, whatever. And then my goal was to show it throughout my house so they can see I'm actually using it. And some of it, you just fake it, okay? And that's okay. So it's, for instance, I don't actually have a deluxe diffuser in my little's room because I don't trust them to not just get water all over the place. But by golly, we took the display one I have here and I took it into that room and made it look like it goes in their room. And we did a video about like, oh, look, it's great in children's rooms. I didn't lie. I didn't actually say it was in their room, but I mean, I said it's great for children's rooms, but whatever. Sorry, I've been talking nonstop. Anyway, so I made little videos and whatnot, but that's kind of how I'm doing mine. But I'm just testing things out, and it's okay to just try things out. Try it one way. If it doesn't work, try it a different way. In the past, I have done where I just made little like posts of just pictures, and then I did one time where I was like, I'm going to be live at this time. And when I did those, a lot of people really liked them, and I timed it. I said I was only going to do it for 15 minutes. And I literally did my best to set out, and that's kind of what I have here, a little bit from each of the categories, just from around my house or whatever. Some of it's used. Like I just took a used wax bar. I'm just trying to show them. Um, and I just set them out. And then rather than flipping through the catalog and telling them about everything, I just tell them about the different categories and go live that way. But the nice thing about hosting and getting people to host is they're bringing in more people that you don't know. So if nothing else, worst case scenario, you're meeting new people, adding them to your contacts, hopefully, and getting future sales from them, even if they don't buy right then, or hopefully getting them to host if they don't buy right then. You're also getting extra PRV if your host doesn't join. But your goal would be to gather all those orders and then flip it to your host, right? And if they don't want it, try to flip it to somebody in the party. A lot of times I'll go for like whoever bought the most. If the host doesn't want it, I'll find the person who bought the most and say, hey, like, would you like this party? I could totally, flip it to you, make it your party. And so you would still make sure in that case that the host obviously gets their rewards as far as whatever they earned free and half price and all that stuff. You would just be giving the kit option, how you can give them the earn a kit option. So sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained. I apologize. But going back to what I was saying a minute ago, and this is going to sound overwhelming, but I'm just telling y'all my real life goals. So if my goal is to earn annual mentor during the incentive period time, which is just mind boggling to me. But if that's my goal, that's 14 people to have to certify. Okay. Which is like insane. Right. So then I'm like, okay, well, let's see. Let's just assume I have to do, and maybe this is actually really high statistics. So I could be even wrong on this. I may need even more, but let's pretend every 10 parties I do, one of them will hit 1,000 and certify. Let's just pretend. So if I need 14 people, then I need 140 parties, right? Well, that sounds insane to think about 140 parties. Like, oh my gosh. So then I was like, hold on. We have 6 months. So let's divide 140 by 6. And that's when I got, okay, 24 parties a month. And I was like, oh, that sounds way more manageable, right? 24. And I was like, let's take it a step further because, again, we want this to seem manageable. Let's take it and divide it by 4. So that's 6 parties a week. Okay, which still sounds like a lot if you're not used to doing any, but 6 parties a week doesn't sound nearly as daunting as 140 when you're looking at that number, right? And with the Facebook parties, you can set them up ahead of time. So sit down and schedule it. And I'm literally like, I just did 4 of the exact same this week. And I literally just went to all 4 and copied and pasted every, the same image on all of them. And then, or the same video. I did videos and pictures. That way, if someone didn't want to watch the video. And then the same caption. And then I just changed the link. And now Scentsy has made it amazing where we can go on the link, the website, their link, and we can click. So I'll just click whatever category I was doing the video on, warmers and wax, and I'll shop all. And then you can actually go and copy the page link, not just the party link, but the page link, and it'll take you to their party and to whatever category, wax and warmers, Lord of the Rings. In fact, I shared that video of James and Lord of the Rings and that link, and one of my fundraisers got an order, and that was her first order she finally got. And it was over $100 because she bought Lord of the Rings stuff and then some extra stuff. So you can set it up on auto. So 6 of them is really not too bad if you're setting them all up. So then I sent out a picture that I'll send later in the group. Actually, I don't have my list in here now. It's in there. And y'all, I started with 4 and I was like, well, I need 24 this month, right? And I think I have gained at least 15 tonight that I'm starting on Monday. And I didn't even book them for different times. I'm like, let's get it going now. And so it may be insane. Pray for me. Next week may be just crazy. That probably might have been too much, but we'll see. It's fine. Figure it out. It's but just break it down into small chunks and pieces. So figure out what your goal is, what level you want to earn, and then break it down monthly what you need. And then don't be discouraged if after the first month, like I've had times where I'm like, oh my gosh, I was supposed to have 11,000 points in the first month. That was my goal. And I only had 6 or 7. And it's like, okay, that's okay. Revamp, look and see what you can do. And some months are bigger than others. Like I have really huge, September, October, and then December because of my events that I have during those times. And so my PRV goes up a lot during those times. I'm meeting more people in the thing during that time. But breaking it down in small chunks is way more manageable and takes away that, like if you're just looking at 65,000, it's easy to think you can't do it, but I promise you, you can do it. I remember the first one we earned and being like, oh, people really do earn these trips. Like I didn't know if people really did or not. And I'm here to tell you they do. And they are phenomenal, and they make it hard to travel on your own after because they spoil you to pieces. There are so many surprises and so much to them that once you go, like you'll want to work hard to keep going. So I've talked a lot. I hope it was helpful. Does anybody have questions? Did I say too much? Was this what you were expecting, not expecting?
It was helpful. I'm interested to hear what you texted out to get all the parties booked.
Yeah, I'll send it out. Yeah, honestly, it was one of those things I kind of, when I went to reunion this year, I was like, I feel like I need to have a relaunch, and not a literal relaunch. Like I have a good business, but so I didn't feel like I needed to contact my customers and say I'm relaunching, because they would have been like, I don't understand. Like we've been doing business for 14 years now. Like, what are you talking about? But in my sense of, I got kind of lazy with it. I have my events I do. And so I just kind of sat back and thought, I don't need to do the parties and do all the other stuff. And while that's somewhat true, I'm not seeing growth, and I believe that's why. And so I've kind of revamped it. And so I was trying to think today, I really need to book a whole bunch of parties. How can I do that? Because I have this huge number now here. And honestly, I was like, what did I used to do? In fact, you can go back and find a YouTube video that I made probably 10 years ago, of the bags, and that's how I got bookings. And then in fact, Scentsy asked me to come speak at one of the reunions for that very thing, and it was kind of funny because I was like, am I even qualified to talk about this? I don't know. But same thing. Like I was like, I'm just gonna go back to the basics. What did I do 10 years ago? I made bags, and that's what I did. And make them cute, like, so I was like, well, my kids, everybody loves seeing the kids, right? So you can even do, like, if you've got pets, or find something cute and silly, stuffed animals. If you've got your buddies, which buddy's bag do you want, whatever, be silly and goofy with it. And then, so I just found, gift bags and just I literally was like, oh, I want to do a warmer. Now, what obviously I'm using the perpetual half price, and I'm just going to pay the cost, right? But I was trying to just book a bunch of parties, and they have to have a successful party. And I actually told them that means 300. I'm not even accepting 200. They need at least 300, and then they get whatever's in the bag for free. And so one of them had a deluxe diffuser, because that's kind of the like, ooh, yeah. And then one of them had a tabletop diffuser and a pod pack. And one of them had a warmer and a wax bar. And then the fourth one, because I have 4 kids, so I knew I needed to have something for all of them. I couldn't think of a fourth thing. that I wanted to entice them with. Like, I love the laundry stuff, but I wasn't sure if the laundry bundle would entice somebody. So I made a piece of paper that just said you get to pick out of all 3 bags, and then sent them pictures of all 3 bags. And I just took empty boxes of a warmer and an empty box of the deluxe diffuser and stuck it in. They don't have to know there's not a real warmer in it. And then put them in the gift bags, took a picture with all 4 kids in the gift bags and put numbers on them with Photify or something. And then I took pictures of each kid with their bag open and the product and smiling. And so then when they text me back, I told them to pick a number. And when they text me back their number, I sent them the picture of the kid with their particular product. And so I'll post for sure the rest of the details, but that's the gist of what I did, other than I'll give you the actual verbiage I used. And some of them were like, oh, wait, like you could tell some of them read and they knew what I meant. And so they were like, oh, sure, I'll do it. And they jumped on and booked. And then you could tell others were like, oh, wait, are you wanting me to join? And I was like, I wasn't asking you to join. I'm asking you to just, or they're like, I'm not wanting to sell. And I'm like, good, you don't have to sell. I just need you to introduce people. I'm going to share my product. Because I try not to say sell, share, right? And then, so some people, obviously, they responded with a number, but then they didn't understand, so they've ignored me, or maybe they'll get back to me later. And then others have said, oh, never mind, I didn't want that. But I have like about 6 people, I think, that said, I'm busy right now, but can you check back with me? And so I put them on the bottom of my list to check back in September. And I even asked them, can I check back with you in September, October? And a few of them like excitedly say, absolutely, I'm for sure will help you then.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? I just highly recommend writing it out and have your goals. Like, so far, this for me is just what I did last year in PRV. So this isn't necessarily my actual goals right now, but it at least gives me an idea. And then as far as sponsoring goes, I mean, you can write down your goals for that because you for sure should have them, but it's just really, it's a numbers game, and just get as many as you can. And so to me, I feel like that's booking, because then, or the parties, because then it's their people, it's their friends. It's a lot easier to say, look, you had all these people that bought. Why wouldn't you want to, earn the money from them?
I thought of another question. So, it's hard for me to get recruits, whatever. But so what about, I have some people that are close to 1,000. How could I encourage them to get there in the next 6 months? The teams that I already
this
have.
is like, this is people that you've already, like, they joined before this month.
Correct.
And they're not certified. Okay. So now, just being completely honest, they're going to be 250 points, which is something. So that's not nothing to whatever, but I would do something different for a new recruit than I would for probably somebody who joined before. You know what I mean? So I have incentivized newer recruits with similar things, like I do the parties. Like, hey, if you hit 1,000 within this month, I will gift you with blah, blah, blah. Or I've even gone so far in desperation to say, what do you want? What out of the catalog are you wanting?
Yeah.
That was when we were like there, and it was like, I literally just need these points. But it's all, like, we have to remember, it's not just about that. Like, we do want to focus on them and what it is that they're wanting. And so helping them, people are motivated and they want stuff. And when they say, well, this is what I'm wanting, and you say, okay, if you'll do that, now, this, keep in mind, like, this may be something you want to have in your stock. So maybe you could say, pick something from my stock. I have known of other leaders who have done that. You can pick something from my stock if you hit certified or whatever. But again, with someone who joined prior, I wouldn't do it quite as much. But sometimes you don't even have to offer anything. You can just be like, hey, we're in a race, and put them all in a group chat together and be like, y'all, do you know how close you are to promoting and to a raise? And I'll just say that and just see what happens from there. And a lot of times they'll just do it based on that. And I'll tell them, figure out the math and tell them exactly, and keep them posted and make a big deal out of nothing. So they do $30 and you're like, you're so much closer now. And it's like, really, that wasn't much out of the 500 you need, but it gets them excited, and they're like, oh my gosh, wow, she believes in me, and this is something. And because it is, it's easy when we're used to higher PRV to forget how hard it was in the beginning to get a 6-pack sold.
Right. Yeah.
So really, it is a big deal for them. All right, my free version says I have 2 minutes. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Or Stacy? Did you have something else, Stacy?
Oh no, I was just saying thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Anybody else? Melissa and Melissa? No worries if not.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to close out before it closes me out because it's counting me down 1 minute, 41 seconds. But thank you guys for joining me. I hope it's helpful. Feel free to message me if you have other questions or think of other things. I love numbers. So I love working numbers. So if you're like, hey, I just have a whole bunch of numbers. I don't know how to make them work. Can you help me? I would be happy to. So you guys have a great night.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye. Good night.